If you're looking to raise chickens, then you've come to the right place, because today, as an experienced chicken owner, I will be sharing the ultimate guide to raising chickens, from chicks in an incubator to adult hens. So without further ado, let's get into it. Wait, before you order eggs, it is very important to check your area's laws about chickens. Some cities have banned roosters due to their loud crowing. If you live in the country, then you will likely be fine, but it is still important to thoroughly check no matter what. Make sure you know what types of chickens you are ordering. Different breeds have different personalities and attitudes, kind of like dogs in many ways. For instance, bantams are great if you have kids, although they do lay small eggs. Bigger chickens, like Rhode Island Reds, are just great all-around chickens. They lay good-sized eggs and are generally pretty decent with kids. But no matter what, it is very important to do proper research on which breeds you choose. There are many great places to buy chicken eggs. For instance, you could buy eggs off of places like eBay online, or just simply go down to your local farm store. Of course, there are many steps to preparing for chicks. For instance, the right incubator is extremely important. There are forced air and still air incubators. You can do research to which incubator works best for you. Next, you're going to want to obtain a reliable and accurate thermometer and humidity sensor. This does not mean the cheapest one off of Amazon. You want to buy one of quality. Make sure it really is reliable and accurate. Even if your incubator comes with one, they're often not the most reliable ones ever, so I'd recommend buying two no matter what. But of course, you're going to need some various other things as well, such as little snippets of sponge, which you'll see why later, a non-slip grip mat, some electrolyte thing made for saving chicks, such as Save a Chick or Quick Chick, and obviously an incubator too. In the description below, I've linked a PDF to which I made where it has a much more complete list of what you're going to need. I made this because if I were to list everything, this video would just get way too long. Getting a quality incubator is also very important, just like a thermometer. But you will also need to turn the eggs 3 times a day. This can become a giant hassle, so you will likely want to buy an automatic egg turner. I personally use these myself. Once you've gotten all your supplies, it is important to set it up well before your eggs arrive, just to sort out any mistakes you have. A forced air incubator, which is an incubator with a fan, should be set to a temperature of about 37.5 degrees Celsius or 99.5 degrees Fahrenheit. A still air incubator, which has no fans, has a bit of a range, which could be between 37.8 degrees to 38.3 degrees Celsius, or in Fahrenheit, that is 100 to 101. Humidity levels should stay between 45 to 50% for the first 18 days, no matter what sort of incubator you have. Ensure these levels stay steady before you actually put your eggs in. Once your eggs have arrived, you need to let them sit for about 12 to 14 hours before placing them in the incubator. You also need to make sure that they're undamaged. Once they are done sitting, carefully put them into the egg slots or placing them upright if you don't have an egg turner. Here it is very important to constantly watch temperatures and humidity levels, along with opening the incubator as minimally as you possibly can. Only open it for essential needs, or cannoli and eggs, which I will get to in a moment. This is going to stay relatively the same until lockdown, which starting day 18 is probably one of the most stressful parts of the whole entire process. If you want to check on the progress of your chick's development, then canneling eggs can be a great way to do so. But of course, there are some drawbacks. For instance, keeping them out of the incubator for as little time as possible is key. And when they are out, make sure to be extremely careful with them to not shake, drop, or mess with the orientation as much as possible. To cannel the eggs, just simply place a flashlight underneath them. Here, you should be able to see the veins in whatever development there is, after about a week or so of being in the incubator. By now, it's about day 18 or 19, meaning it's time to put your eggs into the dreaded lockdown stage. Why it might be dreaded, you may ask? because it's basically the most important stage, and if anything tiny goes wrong, it's going to have a bigger impact than before. In this stage, you will need to take the eggs off the egg turner and remove it if you are using one, or just simply stop manually turning the eggs if you are not. Make sure you replace the eggs in the same orientation that they were before. You will now want to raise the humidity levels to 65 to 70%. There should be little plugs on the top of your incubator, which you can quickly remove to drop little bits of water onto the sponge bits inside. It is also important to mention that you should no longer candle the eggs or even open the incubator for anything. Right before you put your eggs in the lockdown, quickly candle them just to look out for rotten eggs. Rotten eggs will have no growth or very little growth. If they have a lot of veins or more inside of them, then absolutely keep them in. But if they are clearly rotten, make sure to take them out so they don't explode during lockdown. Right after you set up your incubator into lockdown, you should also set up your brooder, which is a place that your little chicks will stay in for a few weeks after they hatch. Here, you will want to have a good sized space for them. There should be about 10 to 15 square centimeters per chick, at least. Gaylord boxes are generally pretty decent. They're ample strong and big, depending on how many chicks you have. Chicks will also need plenty of space to get underneath and away from the heat lamp. Throughout the brooder, you will also want to set up a few small shelters for them, which can just simply be made out of cardboard if you want. You will also want to set up chick water and food containers. Not full-size ones. The chick ones will still be needed here. Also, make sure that your brooder is inside your house, garage, or shed. It cannot be outside in the elements. When your chicks first hatch, which could be as early as day 20, you will be very excited and probably want to hold them, but do not do that. Even if they seem to be struggling to get out of the egg, do not intervene. They are just simply too delicate. And opening the incubator will cause the humidity levels to drop, causing the shell membrane to shrink and suffocate them. Also, the unfortunate reality is your hands are gross with millions of types of bacteria on them, even after washing them. While they may be harmless to you, they are very harmful to chicks. Only after the majority of the eggs hatch, or at least none of them are currently pipping, you can open the incubator with very clean hands. Because while there still may be a lot of bacteria, after a few hours, the chicks should be okay to handle it with clean hands. Once you take them out of the incubator, really quickly you need to put them into the brooder, right underneath the heat lamp. Make sure there are at least 2 of them, or else they might freeze to death. Wait a few days after the bulk of the chicks hatch, as some might be very late. Sometimes it's taken up to 25 days in my experience. After that, it's time to properly dispose of the rotten eggs, and some eggs may have never been fertile in the first place, which is not anyone's fault. You will need to check on your chicks multiple times each day in the brooder. If you often see the chicks cuddled together, that means they are cold, which means you may need to adjust their heat lamp. If they are far from the heat lamp, you might need to move it farther back. Only do about a centimeter at a time. Anyways, that's just about gonna wrap up this video. If you found this helpful or even entertaining, hit that subscribe button to see more helpful content like this. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below and I will make sure to answer them. Anyways, good luck raising your chickens! This video took over 3 months to make,